guys are going out there? Welcome to BALLBUSTERS episode 88. We're finally going to finish up the series on the science presentations, natural science and the scientific method. You knew I'd get there at some point. Now, I think we have the distinguished Nathan Oakley out there. But before we get that, as usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Now, the distinguished Nathan Oakley's out there somewhere because I heard him before. So, what you got for us, sir?
Good evening. How's it going out in Ballbusters land? All the people tuning in live. Welcome. Good to have you all. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yep. Good day. Not in a hurry. We can relax and just go right through it.
That's a worthy topic, as probably well aware, and we won't cover ether on this particular show. It's directly connected to the misapprehensions of the scientific method, so it's an appropriate lead into not talking about the ether. Here we go.
Yeah. Give it a break.
Indeed, but we will have to get a bit of a recap, and I'd like the general discussion not to be about bows or fishing or food or hi-fi or acoustics, but moreover about a recap of the method up until now. I think this is
Hey, Nathan.
Six.
Nathan, you're chopping.
Am I really?
Yeah. Can you jump out and jump in?
Yeah.
Little technical difficulties, folks. Just wait 1 second. Let's see what we got here. Go ahead, sir. You're off mute, but I cannot hear you. Can anyone hear him?
No.
All right, let him try it again. Nathan, we're not getting anything from you, and you're not lighting up at all. Nothing from you, Nathan. Not even lighting up, sir. Adam, can you hear Nathan?
Got a sausage. Although I got feedback. I don't know from there.
We got feedback from you, Nathan. That's it. Sorry, I know it's frustrating, man. But we'll just relax here and see if you can get everything back together.
Just quit.
Yeah, he's in and out now. Just talk amongst yourself out there, folks. Smoke them if you got them.
Sugar substitute. So, Adam, how's things in England?
I've had a spiffing evening, Neil. Thank you for asking, sir.
Yeah, I'm in Alabama, down south.
Still nothing from you, Nathan. You're not lighting up either. Let me see what's going on this side. That's all right. We can have dead air. It's okay. Everyone's just arriving now anyway. Let's check. Wrong button. Yeah, everyone's relaxed out there. We're good.
I'm sorry, I'm driving, so I can't help at all with the conversation.
That's not a problem, Neil. Yeah, Nathan, I don't know what's wrong, but nothing. We've got nothing from you. Like I said, you're still not, well, he just popped out. I'll bet you he's getting pretty frustrated right about now. It happens, though. I can totally understand it.
I know how to get his mic working. If we start talking about food, he'll suddenly find a way to interrupt.
That's a good one.
Talk
I'm
about.
going to eat.
Yeah, I'm not really into that today. I'm having lasagna later, spinach lasagna, but that's about it. No ricotta cheese, man.
Regot. And my brother's making homemade pizzas today.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with my hatred of ricotta cheese.
I don't mind that you hate it. I just hate the way you say it. It's regot.
It's ricotta cheese. It's RICC. I think it's CC. OTTA. Is that correct? Did I spell that correctly?
Regot.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's almost like cottage cheese. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
1C, 2 T's.
1C, 2. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So that's all I have on the food front.
Even that didn't work.
That is the worst ricotta. That is the worst cheese. You're right, Isles. It is. To me, it is. It's absolutely dreadful. Ricotta.
You know they make cannolis out of that, right? It's just sweetened up.
You can make cannolis out of different cheeses, though.
True.
Roasting a roast, however it's spelled, delicious. What, ricotta? God, you gotta be out of your mind.
Seems to have lots of different names. Oh, it's got ricotta. I like Illy's. Rakata.
I thought there was an A in it. Let me check.
I thought it was just ricotta. But
I just
Hills is weird.
Just keep hammering away at the C4 fire here. Is it ricotta cheese? How do you spell this numpty? Let's see. I'm right. RICOTTA. There's an A in it. Any rebuttals?
I think I confirmed that.
If you listen, I'm saying the A. Listen closely. Regatta.
Oh, boy. Hey, what's up, Flat Arthur? How you doing, sir?
Never heard of regatta.
Never heard of ricotta?
Never ever in my life.
That's a good thing, believe me.
But I know cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is pretty common here in India.
What's it called again?
I know cottage cheese.
Oh,
You said it's
cottage
similar to
cheese. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry for rumpusing you. Cottage cheese. That's pretty. Do you like cottage cheese?
I mean, yeah, it's not bad.
You need to have your head examined.
I am a non-vegetarian, but people who are vegetarians in India cannot have anything else but cottage cheese. That's their substitute for chicken and anything non-vegetarian.
What does that have to do with having your head examined? No, I'm just messing with you, man. What? They don't have any other meat substitutes other than ricotta cheese or ricotta cheese, other than cottage cheese?
There's jackfruit.
What about fish?
I'm talking about vegetarians.
You're talking about strict vegans, right?
No, how can vegans have cheese?
Yeah, that's true. So define
Vegetarians.
define this vegan then.
I never said vegan.
Oh, all right. So I just assumed that. You just said vegetarian. There's different
Vegetarian.
There's different classifications for vegetarians, right? Which one are you talking about?
Lacto-vegetarians.
Lacto-vegetarians. That's what there's a lot of them in India?
Yeah, most people who do not eat fish or eggs or anything four-legged, they have dairy products mostly.
Right.
And there are people who sometimes add eggs, but that's again a small percentage.
What's wrong with eggs?
I mean, they are called ovo-lacto-vegetarians. I mean, vegetarians who
I,
also have milk and eggs.
I'll tell you what, I am the egg man. I've been that way for most of my life. I love eggs. I eat eggs. I eat eggs every single day.
Same here.
Yeah, I love them. Scrambled, over medium. When I was a kid, my mom used to make poached eggs. Oh, Nathan's back. Nathan, I'd see he's coming back. What's up, sir? Nope, we still don't got anything from you. Not even lighting up. Yep, he's out again. So, Flat Arthur, yeah, eggs. Yeah. See, I'm the egg man. You're the walrus.
Goo-goo, goo-goo.
Yeah. Too funny. Adam, what's your position on eggs?
See, I love eggs. And we've literally just got rid of the coop because my wife wanted the garden back. But I had a big area for chickens. You need eggs for everything, man.
Yeah.
I'd really like. I tell you what, now when I've not got my homegrown eggs, you just criticize eggs. I do like fried eggs, scrambled eggs is my favorite.
I had scrambled eggs this morning. They were delicious, man.
Lots of cream, lots of butter.
We don't put cream in it. Just a touch of milk, just a touch.
Don't you?
Oh, you know, hold up, Adam, 1 second. I see where there might be a problem because I just got kicked out of my levels here in Discord. Sorry to talk shop talk out there, people, but it seems that Discord is having an issue because it just dropped me down to friggin' 0 and then put me back in. Hopefully Nathan comes back in. Maybe something got fixed with that little fiasco right there. Go ahead, Adam. What were you saying?
I'm just confirming I love eggs, but I did like keeping my own chickens. They're the best eggs.
Well, where did the other eggs come from?
They have to come from shops.
Sharks?
Shops, not sharks.
Shark eggs. Jeez.
I've never had scrambled shark eggs.
This is going really well. This is exactly the way I planned it.
Maybe you should just start the presentation and let Nathan just.
Yeah, I've been waiting with my questions.
Well, on science?
Oh, he's not going to interrupt that anyway, so it gives him time to sort it all out.
Go ahead, Flat Earther. You had something to add there?
I just said I had questions from the whole ether fiasco, and a few things that Nathan might have said in his conversations. I wanted a few clarifications from Nathan as well as you.
Yeah, this is not an ether show. Well, you didn't get the memo.
I did towards the beginning of the show, but I was not sure what it is going to be about then.
Yeah, this is strictly about, this is the last presentation in the science series.
So how come we are not discussing ether today?
Because I deemed it so.
No, I mean, we can discuss the scientific method, right?
We could discuss the presentation. I don't think you're going to be able to answer Nathan any questions. I don't think he's going to make it.
Still, you are here.
Yeah, and?
So maybe you can fill in for Nathan.
Now, like I said, this is etherless presentation today, so you're going to have to, if you want to, you can PM those questions to me.
No, I'm not even going to use the word ether or say it. Sorry.
Now, listen, I didn't say you can't use the word ether. I'm just saying I don't want this show to be about ether. There's plenty of ether around. You could go to them.
No, it is the same conversation that we had like more than a year ago. It's regarding the scientific method and what can or cannot be our variables, independent and dependent variables.
Yeah, that's an easy question.
That's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy question. Doesn't have anything to do with ether.
Of course not. But when the question of ether comes up, again, I don't want to bring in Witsit, but then he was talking about consciousness. And Nathan's reply was that consciousness is outside this physical world. So why are you bringing it in the scientific method? So then
Consciousness
I
is
also had this discussion with Adam. So how come we bring in information when that is also supernatural?
so you said
in nature?
consciousness. What does this have to do with ether?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. You're just asking a question.
Consciousness is
Somebody,
also-
just relax for a second. So Nathan made a claim that the claim was consciousness was outside the physical world. Is that am I right?
Yeah, not just Nathan, but the whole gang.
The whole gang.
There were a couple of more people talking then, yeah.
Well, where is consciousness? That was a question.
I think
No.
it wasn't consciousness, Arthur. It was information.
No, I was talking about the discussion that Witsit brings up consciousness as a replacement for ether for telling us that since ether is immaterial, still it affects the physical world, just like consciousness is also immaterial, but it affects the physical world.
Okay. We can have a materialist state that turkey squirrels exist because turkey squirrels are material, therefore turkey squirrels exist. How about that? You don't get to, by fiat, conjure stuff and then classify it into another conjuring. Answer your question? Did that turkey squirrel get you?
Not really. I
Yeah,
did not get most of it.
Yeah, think about it. Write it down. So let's say a materialist says, I'll say it again. Let's say a materialist says turkey squirrels exist to other materialists. Well, therefore, they must exist because turkey squirrels are material. So write that down and then compare and contrast to your question, and you'll see the direct implications.
What are turkey squirrels?
Material. They must exist if you're a materialist, right? Because they're material. I just conjured that. So let's end it right there. This is absolute silliness.
You know what, though? There's one question that I think most people are thinking is, on a turkey squirrel, what's the head and what's the tail?
If you guys knew where that came from, the turkey squirrel thing, you would absolutely lose it. If any one of my friends, there's two of them that this subject came up many, many, many years ago. It was probably 1993. I could call him up right now and not even say hello and say turkey squirrel, and he will lose it. Just to put it that way. I use turkey squirrel just in memory of that day. I'm not going to mention anything else besides that. Just take my word for it. All right, listen, it looks like Nathan's not going to make it. Let me see out there in YouTube land. Yeah, it looks like Nathan's not going to make it. Like I said, technical difficulties. They've been creeping up lately. I think there's some problems, not only with YouTube, but the interface between Discord, OBS, and possibly Google Meets to some extent. There's been a lot of technical issues, folks, so I'm sorry about that. I had that same problem. Like I said, you know what happened a couple weeks ago. It was an abject disaster, and I recovered it. I really don't know how I did. I just start whacking at buttons. But we can start to get into the presentation. Let's do that. Everyone agree out there? see where I got this at. I want to start off
I
with
only said that 10 minutes ago.
I know you did. I know you did, Adam. Let me start.
Crack on.
Okay, let me start off with something here. This wasn't scheduled. This is not part of the presentation. Hey, why isn't it showing? Hold on a second, folks. Set up. And does that look good? Yeah, it seems to look good. Let's cut it over. Okay, wasn't part of this presentation. However, hello?
Hi, sorry for being late.
You're all right. I'm getting ready to get into the presentation. I lost train of thought there for a second. Oh, so this was at the beginning of the series, Master of Science Part 1, as you can see, Master of Science Part 1. And I always started always started off with this from way back in the day. I can't remember if I did it on Bassano's, but absolutely every presentation, my first statement was, or my first subject was this. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to this, ether believers. You're going to see how this dovetails. You ready? Paleontology, anthropology, archaeology, geology, evolutionary biology, whatever that is, and yes, I'm still laughing, theoretical physics, that's i.e. non-experimental, astrophysics, astronomy, and cosmology, these are not frigging natural sciences. Basket weaving is more scientific than these clowns combined. See, they Jedi mind tricked you from kindergarten on up. If they say it over and over again, hey, science, science, or they got the gate, right? You walk through the pearly gate and it has science written over top. And you're going into one of the classes and one of the numpties up here, right? So that just reinforces the concept and you get Jedi mind trick. And this is science. I have a bachelor, a master, a PhD in one of these disciplines. That's science degree. No, it's not. Demonstrably. The first 6 pretenders can't get to the first step of the scientific method, which is science, natural science. They can't observe a phenomena, a natural phenomena, without a time machine, right? Because these are all more or less historical nonsensical buffooneries, except theoretical physics and these guys. We'll get to those here in a second. You see that? They can't observe. Now, they can conjure phenomena from the past. That's about all they can do. Well, that's not part of the scientific method. Therefore, they're not natural sciences. It's just that simple. The 3 final masqueraders, or the final 3 masqueraders, astrophysics, astronomy, and cosmology can't formulate scientific hypotheses because they lack viable independent variables. Right? Now, they can observe natural phenomena, these guys. They have no problem with that. However, that's only half of the hypothesis. They lack completely viable independent variables. They cannot formulate scientific hypotheses. Well, if you can't formulate a scientific hypothesis, right, you can't get to experiment. An experiment is the key to science. You have to have it. It's just that simple. They can't isolate, test, and validate their dependent variables, their predictions. That's what a scientific hypothesis is. It's a predictional supposition into natural cause and effect relationship. Like I put hard stop right there. There's no argument against this. I could prosecution rest right here and you're out there flapping. It's all over. Simply. Right? On the other hand, the true sciences, quantum mechanics, that's physics, by the way, genetics, parts of chemistry, biochemistry, and parts of biology. Those are the true sciences. Now, there's a caveat that come with these. Each claim from any of these disciplines, I know this is going to be shocking to you, must be accompanied by experiment, preferably repeated, validating each claim. Right? Makes sense. sort of follows from what I said previously, because there are some within these disciplines, right, to, let's say, incorporate some, how would we want to say that, artistic license, go off the beaten path and use their credentials to put forth their horsepuckery. That's what it protects. So if you make a claim, you're from one of these disciplines, easy. Show the experiment, validating it. If you can't, then it's not science. Not that it's not true. It's just not natural science. Very key statement right there. Just because, now if they make a claim that's part of natural science, they have to have an experiment to validate it. Now, anyone can make claims, right? Now, if they make a claim outside of that, then it's, number one, not natural science, but doesn't ipso facto make it not true. There's other means to go about proving certain things, right? Like existence questions, right? If one of these guys claim beach balls exist, then what do they have to do? Well, I got to show you a beach ball. Right? You guys get it? And it's not science, right? Because it's a what is. Existence question or claim. Has nothing to do with science. Doesn't make it not true. Hope you guys get that. Of course, I've been teaching on this for about 6 years now. Longer if you take my former capacities, but you'd figured you'd catch on by now. Or am I being rude? After plainly stating a second grade well duh for 6 years. If no experiment, like I said before, it's called swallow horsepucky. If it's claimed to be natural science and you don't have experiment, then it's not friggin' natural science. Here comes the important part. Do not fallaciously indict the actual sciences as pseudoscience. If you do, I'm going to put your ass in a sling. Now, I've already done it a little bit. Nothing compared to what's coming. Now, that's been this presentation, this little short spiel right here, has been in each presentation since 2017. At the latest. So, get ready. All right, so we can move on from that. Any questions on that? Let me open it up. Did Nathan come back?
No, he's having technical difficulties still.
Yeah.
He's not going to join.
Yeah, I figured as much. That's too bad. Hopefully he's listening. Any questions on that?
Asks,
Go ahead.
He asks that you remember him.
How can we forget?
How can we forget?
Especially with the ether wars freshly breaking.
Oh, I did want to apologize to you, Arwen. I was going to send you a message, but I got involved in other stuff here at home last night. That I know I was pissy with you. I want to apologize for that.
I figured as much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, as far as existence questions go, that's where measurement's important, right?
Existence, questions, and measurements. I don't have to measure a beach ball to know that it's a beach ball. As long as you define that, monkey, and it fits the definition, I don't think I have to measure it. I could. Maybe there's some instances where that could be the case. Right? But I'm not saying you can't measure it. That's not what I'm saying. But for that specific example with a beach ball, I really don't have to measure it. Or a banana or water. Or right. I could, but I don't think it's a necessity. Yeah, I think each would have to be individually evaluated. You couldn't put them all in a basket. Follow?
Well, what I'm saying, though, is there was one of the quotations that you gave where a gentleman who's in quantum mechanics said the human body is an inept measuring device.
Yeah, I seem to
Or-
remember something like that. Yes.
So when you're seeing a beach ball in just the strictest sense, you're measuring it visually.
I don't think you're measuring it, because then you're going to have to get down what measurement means, and we get pretty pedantic about that if you'd like. But I think you're following what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't, that measurement is excluded. I'm just saying for certain well-da things, you really don't need it. Follow?
You
Well, yeah.
have to trust in your senses, and irrespective of whatever radius that beach ball has, you have to trust that that's irrelevant to the fact that currently, right now, you're experiencing a beach ball.
Visually, right.
Visually, yeah.
Oh, you can touch it as well. You can touch it, you can smell it, you can lick it and taste it.
Those would be other senses, though, right? Like if you show them a beach ball, it's different than you hitting them with the beach ball, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I could show you a beach ball, and it might not be actually a beach ball. It could comport all of the visual things that a beach ball requirement needs, but it could just be a 2D image. It could be a photo of a beach ball. That's why, yeah, you need to smell that rubber. Is it even the right rubber? Can I touch it? Can I move around it? Can I bounce it between me and my son on a beach? That's what
I can't
your
get
senses are for.
I can't get rid of the licking the beach balls out of my mind. Thanks, Adam. Hey, give me 2 seconds. Sorry, John. You can go on. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
I would say that licking it is not a requirement to know it's there, but if you want to make that part of your methodology, I won't.
You'd have to know the taste of a beach ball for that to be of use to you, wouldn't you?
Then what would be the taste of the color green?
It's not about.
You're not
the taste,
tasting the
it's about
colour, you're
texture.
tasting the substance that it's made of. Like
Right. Texture. That's what it's about.
texture as well. But that's more feel, isn't it?
Yeah,
Feeling
but
with
the
your tongue.
tongue is a very sensitive touching organ, so
So taste and texture. We got to get those of the beach ball before we can say it truly exists.
You can the smell of it, right? Just to confirm it's a beach ball, you can let a little bit of the air out and go, oh, that smells a bit rank, doesn't it? And then there's another confirmer from all your previous experience of knowing what a beach ball is. You need to confirm that this is a beach ball. You certainly don't have to measure it. What is the measurement of a beach ball, incidentally? Just so I could know it is a beach ball.
Well, it depends on what senses you're using to experience it, right? Like if you do a visual, then it'd be down to arc.
No. If measurement is the quantification, yeah, then the measurement has to fit a measurement, doesn't it? You could say, you could even give it a bit of variance. It's between 12-inch and 18-inch. Yeah.
No, that would be actual size, wouldn't it? That's not how you see.
No, that would just be a measurement.
Yeah, but that's actual measurement. That's like comparative.
Are you guys just about done?
Yeah, we're just fucking around.
Let's see how many people I lost here. Oh, I gained a few. Continue. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, we don't need to continue, please. It's getting excruciating. Sorry, John.
No, it's all right. I just enjoyed the licking the beach ball.
I did
experience.
too. I really enjoyed that part. It was a good visual. Don't think I ever did that. But I digress. Let's get back to
How many people will, though, after listening to this?
Yeah, that's the question, Adam. Maybe they'll report to us next Ballbusters. Make sure you ask that.
Check chat.
All right, let's get back to the last. What part was this? I think this is part 4, but in the title, it's probably part 6 or something. I busted it up. we took a little bit long in a couple sections, so it's not a biggie. We'll first go over natural experiments, observational studies, and field studies. See, this presentation is really old. You don't hear too much about these three subjects anymore because I stomped a mud hole in their ass. So they don't bring these up too much anymore, but it's still part of the presentation. I think it's an important part. Just in case you hear any of these numpties, natural experiments and stuff and observational studies, I'm going to show you what a joke this is. All right. So let's go with natural experiments. Kick it off. We'll go with their alma mater wiki. Natural experiments are a different type of quasi. As soon as you see that quasi, then sirens and weathered eyebrows should raise. If you know, I'll give you the definition here in a minute. Natural experiments are a different type of quasi-experiment design. They should have put experimental design. Let's continue. Used by researchers. It differs from person by treatment in a way that there is not a variable that is being manipulated. Uh-oh. Yeah, they're telling you right here, right? Because they already know they're trying to ward off the hounds, right? This isn't science because there's no independent variable. Simple. Quasi. What does quasi mean? Seemingly, apparently, but not really. That's right. So seemingly experimental design, apparently, that means not actually experimental design, and not really experimental design. You just put the words in, the definition in for the word. That's how you do that. Synonym, quasi, pseudo, not real or genuine, sham, spurious. How do you say that right? Spurious? I think spurious is the way you say that. Forgive me. Spurious. It's a good word. It's hard to say. Spurious. You know what? I think the Dutch would have a difficult time with that. Arwen, say spurious.
Spurious?
Told you. Prosecution rests. I'll give it to Betty.
Me, that was a mometic perfect copy of what frequencies you attained. So
Do it again and loud, Arwen.
spurious.
Yeah, that was rubbish.
Is
Spurious.
it spurious?
That's better.
Spurious? Spurious? I don't know.
It's spam being furious. Spurious.
It's certainly spurious as to whether Arwen can pronounce the
So
word.
spurious. It's an AE type of effect. Spurious.
I rest my case. All right, let's continue. All right, so natural experiment from P. Craig, using natural experiments to evaluate population health interventions, New Medical Research Council guidance, the Journal of Epidemiology. That gives the game away right away as soon as you see epidemiology. Community health. Let's see what it is, because we have to define the things, right? That's how we communicate. We have to define each thing, because I may be talking about apples, but when you hear apple, you may be thinking orangutans. We can't have that. We can't successfully communicate with each other. It's called semantics. It's not an argument. Okay? My word. The term natural experiment lacks an exact definition. They come right out of the gate and tell you we can't even define this monkey correctly. That's another red flag and a weathered eyebrow. And many variants are found in the literature. The common thread in most definitions is that exposure to the event or intervention of interest has not been manipulated by the researcher. We seen that above, right? The one above said there's no variable being manipulated. So they're just echoing that. That means red, no viable independent variable. So if you don't have a viable independent variable, you don't have a hypothesis. If you don't have a hypothesis, then you can't conduct an experiment. See how that flows? Outside a randomized controlled trial, that's what RCT means, it is rare for variation in exposure to an intervention to be random, so special care is needed in the design, reporting, and interpretation. As soon as you see this word, interpretation, in a science discussion, there's a rooster in the henhouse. There are no interpretations in natural science. The scientific method was designed to get rid of that. That's subjective. Whereas natural science and the scientific method is objective. So you're in a category error. But I digress. An interpretation of evidence from natural experimental studies and causal inferences. What the hell is that? I'll bet you these guys don't even know what inferences are. I'll guarantee it. Most people that use the word doesn't know what it means. I usually stop people who use that term, if you notice. But I digress. And causal inferences must be drawn with care. Natural experimental studies are more susceptible to bias and confounding. Natural experimental studies are often recommended as a way of understanding the impact of population-level policies on health outcomes or health inequalities. There are important areas of public health policy, this is where natural experiment takes place, check this out, such as suicide prevention, air pollution control, public smoking bans, and alcohol taxation. I don't know let me finish. Where natural experimental studies have already contributed a convincing body of evidence. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps. I don't know. Does this alcohol taxation, does that sound like physics to you?
This needs updating.
Like I said, is suicide...
No, seriously. John, you know, nothing more needs updating from the past 2 years that we've lived through, when all the things that we've had to do and endure have been done under the guise of following the science. That underpins it very nicely.
Yep. Like I was saying, I agree, Adam. It underpins it. Like I was saying before we got here, is suicide prevention, air pollution control, public smoking bans, and alcohol taxation frigging physics, chemistry, biochemistry, or biology? You could classify it. Some are classified under these guys. I would go with more biochemistry and biology. We're talking about health outcomes of populations. So there's an indirect link sometimes here and here. Don't let that Jedi mind trick you, right? You have to have an experiment, period. On the observation.
Right,
okay, go ahead.
I was about to say, but alcohol taxation isn't about health. It's about controlling consumption of alcohol. You know, like I don't.
That's an epidemiological study. So to say if we were to increase the taxation of alcohol, then that's the variable we're going to manipulate. And the outcome is, well, what?
Lower alcohol intake?
What are you measuring? Maybe
yeah.
more alcohols, but this is the point of studies like this.
Yep.
That they're not a cause and effect relationship. They're not even pretending to do so. The analogy I was going to say is you'd look at that and see effects on dementia rates, cardiac incidents, etc., etc., and you would use that to justify an increase in alcohol taxation for the betterment of the dumb public.
Yep, they're correlation studies. All these we're going over here are correlation studies.
Well, that was the bit I liked. And interpretation of evidence, causal inferences, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Interpretation of evidence and what are causal inferences. If you plot into a computer program, and when we're talking epidemiological studies, that's what's required. What are the causal inferences? You have to assume that, and you put it in to a computer program, don't you, or into a statistical run.
Yep.
That's not science, and like I said, that there's no better demonstration of where the word science can be used over the past few years, other than in these kind of epidemiological situations.
Yes, sir. All right, moving on. Did we go over this? Oh no, we didn't. So, observational studies, the next one, this is going to be pretty easy. From Hinkelman, Klaus, Kepthorne, Design and Analysis of Experiments, Volume 1, Introduction to Experimental Design. Observational studies are not scientific experiments. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Just come right out of the gate with it. Saves time. Right? So, they just tell you right up front. Then they give you the reason why. Not too much different from natural experiments. Observational studies are not experiments. By definition, see that definition? It's important to define stuff. Observational studies lack the manipulation required for becoming experiments. Again, the same type of thing. They have no independent, dependent variable relationship going on here. None at all. So that's an easy one. Thanks. Appreciate it. Field studies are another joke. They're not scientific experiments either. However, what's this from their alma mater wiki? However, like natural experiments, remember natural experiments were a joke, they're quasi-experimental designs. Field experiments suffer, yeah, they're suffering all right, from the possibility of contamination. Experimental conditions can be controlled with more precision and certainty in the lab. Yet some phenomena, for example, voter turnout in an election, it sounds like physics to me, cannot be easily studied in a lab. Yeah, profound. So, like I said, so voter turnout is physics? Friggin' morons. By the way, if you thought so, you'd fail 5th grade general science. Just so you know. Oh, before we get there, I think we can roll. This is pretty important right here. Natural law versus scientific theory. I've had more, how would we say, educated people just get slapped in the face with this, and they didn't like it. You're going to see why here in a little bit. So I've had big problems, not with laymen, but with educated people. So natural law versus scientific theory. Right away, you see there's a difference, right? Because they're kind of two different phrases. That should probably give the game away. So what are scientific theories? Scientific theories explain the hows and the whys, mechanisms and processes, and identifies the cause. For example, plant growth theory. Scientific theories are the result of validated, confirmed scientific hypotheses that have been rigorously tested, as opposed to natural laws. Because natural laws describe, see, these two terms right here are vastly different. Vastly. There's chasms in between these two. Natural laws describe the whats and the is's. There's another change, right? Right? First, we're explaining the hows and whys. Now, these are talking about the whats and the is's / existence questions. The cause is completely not applicable. They are based solely on observations, often expressed mathematically. For example, the second law of thermodynamics. Now, I'm not saying natural laws aren't true. I'm just saying they're not scientifically validated. Does everyone get that? I'm asking it rhetorically. See the difference? Yeah, hope so. With natural laws, the cause and the hows and the whys, the mechanisms are both nonsensical and invalid inquiry. It's just an is's and an r's. For example, how or why does heat flow from hot to cold always? I don't know. And we'll never know. All we know, every single time, it just does and is. Ergo, natural law. That means something has to do it over and over and over again. It's inviolable in nature, making it a natural law. Now, there's a lot of quote unquote laws that are not actually laws, right? We can name a few of them right off the bat. They go by laws, but they go by name, but underneath the hood, there's a lot of bones and a stench. So that's why they're called the laws of thermodynamics and not the theories of thermodynamics. That should give the game away. For most, you'd figure that, but let me tell you, it doesn't, especially with the educated varieties. Natural laws never become scientific theories or vice versa. Each are domain-specific inherently. So what should be your next objection, challenge, or inquiry? What makes the laws of physics scientific? That should be the next question, right? Natural laws, the laws of physics, are not not scientific. They are merely descriptions, like I said above, often expressed mathematically, of plain old observations of nature. The scientific method is employed to elucidate and explain cause and effect, the hows and whys, not describe the whats and the ises. Simple. Natural laws only breach the first step of the scientific method, observe a natural phenomenon. You can't formulate a scientific hypothesis, step 3, because a viable cause, independent variable, doesn't exist. It's forever illusory. We got that. Well, let's go to MIT. We got Max Tegmark. He's going to tell us about what natural laws are. Let's see if we can get something out of this. We humans have gradually discovered many additional recurring shapes and patterns in nature. This sounds like a sewing class, involving not only motion and gravity, but also areas as disparate as electricity, magnetism, light, heat, chemistry, radioactivity, and subatomic particles. These patterns are summarized by what we call our laws of physics. So we're into a sewing class with laws of physics. Patterns, recurring shapes, right? This should raise a weathered eyebrow, right? Back to Max. When we look at reality through the equations of physics, this is a contradiction in terms. You can't look at reality through equations of physics because the equations are not parts of reality. I don't walk outside and all of a sudden see equations floating around. You? We find that they describe, like I said above, patterns and regularities. Well, that's great. That's lovely. It's just not scientific. Therefore, the laws of physics are mathematical, i.e. descriptions of mere observations of nature, making them laws. If they're inviolable and happen every single time, then they are classified as laws of nature when it happens legitimately. Number 1, but wait a second, my son is a video game master champion. He can readily recognize and describe the recurring patterns and regularities present in the game, all the while being absolutely clueless about the underlying architecture, that is, software of the game. But he intuitively knows that patterns and regularities in the game are not the cause of the game. And he's 16 now, and is my 16-year-old a scientist? This tells you I put this together at least 6 years ago. Right, exactly 6 years. I should, you know what? I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to leave it. Number 2, how can the laws of physics, that is, descriptions of patterns and regularities in nature via equations, have anything whatsoever to do with the scientific method, that is, science, natural science? When the scientific method is solely based on hypothesis testing, which is only employed to explain cause and effect relationships, that's the whys in the house? It's a good question, isn't it? You'd think. Back to this, I'm glad I put this in here. Describing, like I said, there's a unfordable chasm in between describing and explaining. You see, describing focuses solely on what's and is's, whereas explanations focus solely on the hows and whys. So if somebody is explaining something to you and they're only giving you the what's and the is's, they're actually not explaining anything. They're just describing. Guys, follow that? I hope you get that. It's subtle, but it's very important. It leads to all kinds of non sequiturs. You hear me stop people when they say explanation and just give a description. I'll stop them. Right? And then they get embarrassed and call me names because I point out, I ask them to define descriptions and explanations, and they won't do it, and I'm the bad guy. So, as you can see, there's kind of a big difference between describing something and explaining cause and effect, like actual hypothesis testing experiments. Watching heat flow from hot to cold or gases flow from high pressure to low pressure isn't an experiment. It's merely observing a phenomenon. Have the laws of motion, which are all debunked, ever caused a single billiard ball to move across the table? Even if they weren't debunked, do the laws cause that? It seems we have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, doesn't it? The story begins and ends at the first step of the scientific method. Is that science? Nope. But they got another thing. They got another ball in the bullpen. But we can predict QE. Really? So after observing heat flow from hot to cold a few billion times, second law of thermodynamics, without fail, you scientifically predict, ahem, and genuflect, that if I set my scalding hot cup of coffee on the table for 20 minutes, it's going to get cooler? Wow, a seer. Thanks, Captain Obvious. You must be a scientist. A complete moron at the beginning of time could have reached the same conclusion in a coma. Basket weaving is more scientific than scientific laws. It's a married bachelor. They just throw the term scientific in front of the word law by mere fiat without any warrant whatsoever. And here we got again. We're going with the turkey squirrel scenario. Right? Because I did that. They just throw it in front of there. Yeah. Just throw scientific in front of it and, I don't know, kind of presto magico, give it some validity. Nice little game. Then what do? Well, since heat flows from hot to cold always, describe it using equations, then pronounce from the rooftops, this is a scientific law. That is science, ahem, and genuflect again. This is second grade slick. You see, it greases the skids for their propaganda efforts with Joe Coffey and Betty Breadmaker. No offense, Betty. The masses of the scientific illiterate public to now put the term scientific in front of just about anything for veracity and validation. That's the trick. That's it. It's just linguistics and the lack of understanding of science and natural science, which is rampant. You guys see the game? It's a simple game. So that's what they do. And then what they do, they put it in front of words like evolution, big bangs, multiverses, black holes, gravity, or gravy waves, affectionately called, dark matter, spinning balls, and ether. Now, some do with ether. They'll put science in there, some don't. Right? So I'm not, putting everyone in the basket there, but I've heard it. So you see the game? You see how they do it? Right? It's just linguistics. In conclusion, file 13, the term scientific with law as a belly laugher. It's incoherent. It doesn't fit. It's a category error. What they are simply are natural laws. That's it. Taking everything we've discussed above concerning science, the scientific method, and the empirical nature of it, then why are people arguing ad nauseum, never ending, over whether the earth is a sphere or flat plane without quick resolution? That's the question. That should, again, set off the alarms and raise that weathered eye. That should be the first clue. Do people argue incessantly whether the lack of vitamin C causes scurvy or the lack of insulin with type 1 diabetes patients causes DKA or diabetic ketoacidosis? Right? You hear people constantly arguing about that? No, you don't. And you never will. Why? Well, because it's validated by experiment. Duh. Right? See it? See the continuing problem? Right? As soon as you find people arguing about something, then the people in this are not educated. Is the earth a sphere or a flat plane a cause and effect question, or is it a concrete noun question, that is, existence question? Right? It's an existence question. Therefore, let me just follow this. Key point, concrete nouns or what is existence questions are outside the purview of the scientific method. Simply. Only why, how, or how I questions based on observations of natural phenomena, first step, can be adjudicated or reconciled. From Lowell C, becoming a successful scientist. From Cambridge, a scientific hypothesis is based on cause and effect reasoning. A scientific hypothesis does not merely state X and Y may be related, but explains why they are related. You have no viable X, so you have no Y. See how I did that? So for concrete nouns, for example, is it a sphere, ball, or a flat plane? Your only recourse is to attempt to explain the cause of either. Get the why and the how, which is totally non sequitur. So basically, each and every single train wreck proof of a sphere, or a flat for that matter, anyone bumbles, stumbles, and fumbles with is a non sequitur fallacy, category error on nuclear steroids. Because, number one, you have no viable independent variable, and two, you have no coherent question. All are inane bollocks, and boil down to, why is a bread box rectangular, true or false? Silliness. This is easy to take apart. Every single claim from the ball-tard spinning space monkey congregation is an affirming the consequent formological fallacy. Once you get down to it, everyone is. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. It's formal because it has form. Let's use fairy tale evolution because I heard this for many years. I always cracked up over it. If evolution is true, P, then insert any Darwinian grab bag post hoc observation, fossils, homology, similarity, genetic variation, and others. That's Q. We observe post hoc observation, Q, therefore evolution is true, therefore P. Simple fallacy. Right? A lot of times you can't catch it. They'll go real fast unless you're onto it. You're onto the game. So you quickly put the P's and Q's together. Or another one, if the spherical Earth with a radius of la 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 is true, P, we will observe differing elevation. Look at this. This is prescient. Elevation angles to Polaris. I put this together 6 years ago. Huh? Look at that. If the spherical Earth with a radius of la 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 is true, P, we will observe differing elevation angles to Polaris, Q. We observe differing elevation angles to Polaris, Q. Therefore, the spherical Earth is true, right? Therefore, P. This is a joke. You hear this real fast, you're like, wait a second. Even if you don't know the particular fallacy, you know something's wrong, right? You're like, wait a second. Say that again. At least, hopefully, it's at least that much. If not, then you shouldn't be out here. The logical fallacy is that P doesn't necessarily follow from Q. For example, if I had just eaten a whole pizza, P, I would feel very full, Q. I feel very full, Q. Therefore, I've just eaten a whole pizza. Therefore, P. Well, couldn't I have eaten a 20-ounce ribeye with fries or the old 96er? Prove the spherical Earth first, crayon munchers. My word. What we got here in Shangri-La is a screaming testimony documented over and over again of what happens as a result of what I call the game. Get up there. Here's the game. We have the pseudoscience religions, astronomy, astrophysics, cosmology, paleontology, geology, anthropology, archaeology, evolutionary biology, whatever that is, and yes, I'm still laughing, theoretical physics. Crocheting, as I said above, is more scientific than all these clowns combined. And I demonstrated why above. Neither of the masqueraders can follow the scientific method. If you're unsure about that, scroll on back in the presentation and I go over the reasons why. Because the pseudoscience priests, see, they're kind of clever. The pseudoscience priests from the religions above know as an absolute fact, because they taught most of these numpties, that Joe Coffey and Betty Breadmaker masses, a.k.a. the ball-tard spinning space monkeys, wouldn't know what actual science or basic reasoning was if it landed on their heads, spun around, and whistled Dixie. They know this. So, what does that afford them? Now they can pretty much pontificate anything under the term science via clumsy equivocation fallacy and second-grade linguistic word game gymnastics. and have their brain-dead religious hordes from their congregations mindlessly parrot any and all manner of blatant pseudoscience religious propaganda, i.e. fairy tales, that they hear directly from them or the metric tons of sermons posted on their church's website, Wiki, Google, and or 1,000 of affiliate websites. However, when the pseudoscience priest or anyone from their congregation is directly challenged by anyone with a 5th grade general science acumen or better and or can fog a mirror, they then, without coherent rebuttal, call the challenger names, picking an appeal to ridicule fallacy, akin to the tactics employed on a second-grade playground, carpet bomb barrage of logical fallacies, contradict themselves with every other breath, and muster their hordes and appeal to the consensus fallacy of their pseudoscience congregationers and priests. And then rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat forever and ever. It's simply pseudoscience religion. Duh. Parroted incessantly by fanatical, indoctrinated wankers spinning space monkey ball-tards that couldn't tell the difference between a Bunsen burner and a beach ball that you're licking. Then they rail against religion with their voracious anger, all the while being neck deep in one. How you like that? That's scientifically falsified religion, by the way. Mind-numbing wittery. And they think they're intellectuals. Thanks, Globetard Goobers, for perfectly illustrating the end. For the encore. Let's take a look at Professor... What's his name again? Singham Mano. That sounds like an Indian name. We'll get back to that later. Professor admits physics profs brainwash students with propaganda. This is from, like I said, Singham Mano, Teaching and Propaganda, Physics Today. That's a peer-reviewed journal, by the way. Volume 53, June 2000, page 54. Let's take a little gander. And I used that trust to effectively brainwash them. We who teach introductory physics have to acknowledge, if we are honest with ourselves, that our teaching methods are primarily those of propaganda. We appeal without demonstration. Doesn't that sound familiar? In our current situation. We appeal without demonstration to evidence that supports our position. We only introduce arguments or evidence that support the currently accepted theories, which they're actually not, and omit or gloss over any evidence to the contrary. We give short shrift to alternative theories, which are not actual theories, introducing them only in order to promptly demolish them. Again, by appealing to undemonstrated counter-evidence. That's AKA linguistic gymnastics. We drop the names of famous scientists and Nobel Prize winners to show that we are solidly on the side of the scientific establishment. All of this is designed to demonstrate the inevitability of the ideas we currently hold. Goosebumps again. So that if students reject what we say, they are declaring themselves to be unreasoning and illogical, unworthy of being considered as modern thinking people. Of course, he's going to grease the skids now for rationale why. Of course, we do all this with the best of intentions. I'm getting misty. And complete sincerity. Aw, goony goo goo. I have good reasons for employing propaganda techniques to achieve belief. Goebbels is blushing. So I, like all my colleagues, teach the way I do because I have little choice. But it is brainwashing nonetheless. When the dust settles, what I'm asking my students to do is to accept what I say because I, as an accredited representative of my discipline, profession, and academia, say it. All the reason, logic, and evidence that I use simply disguise, masquerade, the fact that the students are not yet in a position to sift and weigh the evidence and arrive at their own conclusions. That has scary echoes of what I just went with above, doesn't it? Right? Because he and all his colleagues know that these guys are not prepared. So they can get away with pretty much saying anything they want. The end. That'll grow some hair on your back. Hey? Questions, comments, concerns?
Yep. So, you are attacking. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. What?
You said questions.
Questions, comments,
Yes.
concerns about the presentation.
Yep, sure. So, you are attacking pseudoscience at its very first level, something that does not even go through the scientific method,
Correct.
hence is classified as pseudoscience.
No,
But can something
nope, incorrect. Nope, that's not what I said, and I didn't even imply it. In fact, I stated something completely different. Nope.
where was I wrong?
Just because something is not scientifically validated doesn't ipso facto make it, number one, not true, and pseudoscience. You see, ping pong doesn't follow the scientific method, but no one calls it pseudoscience. Why? Because something has to pretend first to be science. If that thing pretending or people claiming that it is science and it's doesn't follow the scientific method, that makes it pseudoscience.
Got it. So even if something does go through the scientific method and follows the cause and effect relationship, dependent variable thing, even after that, it can be pseudoscience. Is there a chance or not?
No. No chance.
For example, the germ theory, an example
we're
that
not
you
getting
always
into
keep giving, but can it not be questioned?
I can't. It's not that it can't be questioned. Me specifically, when germ theory comes up, it hasn't come up for a while. I can only speak to what I personally had my hands on. So I can only speak to the bacteria land. Me myself personally, I didn't deal with viruses. So I relinquish. I will not state anything. This is some good advice to people. If you don't know dick about something, don't try to pretend your way through it. Right? So germ theory, I got you. With the viruses, that's off the table. All I can speak to is the bacteria side of that equation. How about that? Is that good?
You wouldn't question that. That means you would agree that bacteria are the cause of certain
I don't agree
diseases.
with it. I know it for an absolute friggin' fact.
Okay.
Yes. I can whip up a concoction for you. Right? And we'll see if you make it through. Have you ever had food poisoning in your life? There, Flat Earther.
Yeah, do you know what it's caused by?
Oh, God, here we
By-
go.
by the
I didn't ask
poisonous-
Arwen. I asked
By
Flat
the
Earther.
poisonous excretion.
I didn't
of the
ask Arwen. I asked Flat Earther.
I also have my ideas pretty similar to those of Arvin's.
Oh, they are. And you don't even know what Arwen's going to say. What are you, mind melding with him?
No, I just heard him right now.
Oh, just
I
right
think I
now,
get-
over top of me, he said about 4 or 5 words, but you agreed totally with Arvin.
Yeah, I got his drift. Yeah.
Oh, you got his drift, right. Well, I'm not here to defend germ theory. I'm here to defend the presentation. So we can move on to germ theory at some point in the future. It bores me.
All right. Can I move on to the next point?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 3 conditions for something to be the independent variable, and I would like to quote Nathan
Okay.
from one of his previous conversations that A, it has to be our presumed cause. B, we should be able to, or the researcher should be able to vary and manipulate it.
Yep.
And C, that it has to be real.
Yeah,
Now
it must exist. So he got them from me. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I know that. So we have been hammering some guy who says that anyone who believes that something outside the physical world does not exist is a materialist.
Say that one more time.
Basically, if someone says that if you are of the belief that something which exists outside the physical world does not exist, for example, consciousness, it is not within the realm of the physical world, right?
It's not?
What?
Still, it can interact with the physical world just like information does.
No, wrong. Define consciousness and then show how it interacts with the physical world.
Yeah, good luck with that.
What? Go ahead and write that down so we don't get bogged down with it. Write what I just said down, and then we'll get back to it on another show. I'm not trying to get away from it. I want to deal with the subject, but I don't want to bog down the show with it. But it's very important to define your terms. So it's important.
I just wanted to know, does this question not make sense?
Yeah, I need it to make sense. That's why I said define those things so it makes sense to me. But
No, I'm saying within the realm of the physical world, consciousness does not exist because it is not physical.
in the
Am
realms
I wrong
of
in
the,
saying that?
in the realms of the
No.
physical. Hold on, Arwin. In the realms of the physical world, you're saying that I stated this. In the realms of the physical world, consciousness that does not exist never came out of my mouth.
In the context of the physical world, consciousness does not exist.
Well, we're
Yes,
in the physical world, right? Where is consciousness?
Does consciousness not
I
exist?
asked the question, where is consciousness?
It exists.
Oh,
It is
God.
real.
Here we go again.
He's not saying it doesn't exist, Arthur. He's asking you, where is the consciousness existing?
Inside our minds.
Oh, what's that?
And where is that located, Arthur?
In our mind?
Where
What is
is
that?
your mind? Would you describe your mind and my mind in the same physical place?
We are not in the talking in context of the physical world, right? Because consciousness is not
That
physical.
didn't answer his question. Stop making claims. Sorry, I'm talking while I'm eating. 1 second. Stop making claims. Listen carefully to his question and just answer it. What is so hard about that? Go ahead, Adam. Ask him again.
I want to make it a question. If you're talking about consciousness, is your and my consciousness in the same place?
Now see, this is what happens.
Here we go.
You are asking questions.
He's asking you questions for clarification. If you don't answer, I'm going to tell you, you're going to piss me off. If you don't answer his simple questions, I'm going to mute you. Okay? Adam, ask him one more time.
You've made a broad sweeping statement of consciousness. So for me to understand what you mean by that, I need a bit of clarity. So, are our consciousnesses in the same place, or do they hold a different physical location?
See, I cannot answer this question, but let me bring this up. When someone else brings up consciousness, you are beating.
You're muted.
Oh, don't do that, Kiwi.
Yeah, I am. I'm tired of it. I warned him. I'm done playing games. That's it. I'm done playing games. And when I get to that point, there's no talking to me. Now, if you think it's bad, if you think I'm the bad guy, fine. I could give a shit less. Can't answer simple questions. You don't need to be on this panel.
Right, not while Kiwi is
Can I-
digesting food still.
Hey everyone, hey QE. Can I add just a little bit of clarity to what Arthur is trying to attack? It's got to do with Nathan and Witsit some days ago, where consciousness was brought up, and Nathan was making the point. Now, I can't speak verbatim for what he said, but I know what he was saying, so I won't use his exact words because I can't remember his exact words. But the point Nathan said is physics deals with the physical, the 3D world that we can validate in 3D reality. Anything outside of that is not in the 3D world. That's the point Nathan was trying to make. He didn't say it exactly like that, but consciousness or anything else doesn't have physicality. Physics deals with the physical, the 3D. Consciousness is a different thing. It's not a physical thing. You can't, you can't mold it. It's not there in the physical 3D world.
Yeah, but everyone knows it exists.
You have to describe it different.
But it's everyone know it exists. I mean, this is stupid. Right?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan never denied it existing.
Right.
But his point because Witsit was using it as a juxtaposition to ether, let's just say.
Yeah, we're going to deal with that.
Yeah, so Nathan's point was you're juxtaposing two things, right, that are not in the 3D world.
Right.
So you can't be speaking about them in a physics or say that there's physics there to support them or anything because you're talking about something in a dimension that's outside 3D reality. That was Nathan's point. Thank you.
All right. Adam, you have another appeal?
There's not really an appeal there. That was I've been chatting with Witsit in Skype and set up a room with him and a few others, but that was my first kind of point of contention, in that there appears to be this ether or atomists, and this appears to be what's being played out, and that's what I took objection to imply that somebody that believes in the construct of atoms and how it helps us understand physics is in some way denying the supernatural, consciousness, spirituality, and anything else you can.
That's inane bollocks.
Someone just arrived in chat.
That's inane bollocks. What I was asking you, hold on a second. What I was asking you is if you'd like to discuss this with Flat Arthur, because I'm going to get pretty pissed off, right?
No, I think me and Brian's probably... We spoke to him the other day in an after show, and I think that's the point he was long-windedly getting to. And like I said, it was the initial point I objected to. Atomist or Ethereum.
That's stupid. That's a false dichotomy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you want me? I will if you ask nicely.
Please, QA.
Gonna get on my last nerve.
Can I just say one thing beforehand?
Yes.
Just so the audience knows, one of the reasons why that was just atomist and Ethereum, why the two of them are such a false dichotomy, is that one is based outside of physical reality. The other one is based in physical reality. So you can't make a comparison between the two.
No, the biggest
atom is.
No, the biggest problem is they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, that's maybe a better way of saying it. But you know what I mean.
Brian, right? Remember, Brian? Be so concise. It'll cut you.
Yeah, I know, but I only explained it every way I could. So
I like it.
you got the best I got. Yeah.
I like hearing you talk anyway. All right, Adam. I'm gonna go against my better judgment. Every time I do that, something bad happens. But would you like to talk with Flat Earther?
Well, no. Well, please unmute him. I
Okay.
don't like talking.
Yeah, you asked me nicely. There you go.
Arthur, Brian stepped in, and I think I summarised it. Would you disagree with our summary, or did you have another point you were wanting to make?
I would completely agree with what Brian said. Then my question would be, information is not physical. What about it? In the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment,
Oh,
which
brother.
path information? Now, information is supernatural. How come it affects our physical reality? That was my question.
Consciousness.
Define consciousness.
Touche.
Yeah, touche. Didn't I ask him that same thing before? I'll give you touche. I'm going to tell you what. I'll tell you, Adam. I told you, didn't I?
I'm happy with that outcome. It was a tongue-in-cheek touche.
Okay.
Go back to the beginning.
Go ahead.
Because
Sorry.
we started with what is consciousness. Yeah, is consciousness, well, whatever it was. We went into a little dozy-do where we moved on from confirming what the definition of consciousness was, and the final rebuttal to me is, what is consciousness? And touche.
Yeah. All right.
Could I just ask, just for clarity for the audience, in layman's terms, what did the quantum eraser experiment prove?
Oh, brother. I surely wanted to get into this.
Oh, you don't have to. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter.
Who you at,
I only
Brian?
asked-
Brian, you have to address somebody with the question because nobody knows who wants to answer it, who's going to answer it. Be hyper specific, please.
Okay, I'd like Flat Earther to address that question because he brought it up. He brought up that topic, so I'd like Flat Earther to address what the quantum eraser experiment proves in layman's terms.
Brian, but did you not get my question? You just said that something outside the physical world cannot be a part of a scientific experiment. So my simple question is, how come information becomes a part of
Hang on a second. Hang on. I just asked you a question. I asked the question and I addressed it to you. How come you're not answering my question?
I mean, I asked you a direct question. You can either comment on it, try to answer
I
it.
asked the question first, Flat Earther. The reason I asked this question, and I didn't want to have to direct it at you, but now I'm definitely directing it at you, because I want to know if your knowledge on the quantum eraser, what it is. I want to know. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on it, but I want to know what your knowledge is on it.
A little bit what I have heard from QE in many of his presentations. And so, are you not even aware that information is an independent variable? Because that serves my purpose and the purpose of my question to you.
I don't know all the details of the quantum eraser experiment. I'm not very up on either the double slit demonstration. I understand it enough, but I haven't gone down that road very much. So my knowledge on these things. Is I just want to know if you can give me the layman's outcome. What did it prove?
That the knowledge of the which path information leads to wave function collapse. That means whether or not you are observing the beam of light or the photon passing through one of the slits actually decides what kind of pattern you are going to get on the film. If you are observing, then you get two straight line patterns, and if you are not observing, then we get a diffraction pattern. So basically the knowledge or the which path information is what is causing the wave function collapse. If that is our independent variable, that means information is the independent variable. And what you just said is that everything which is immaterial, which is supernatural, falls outside the physical world. So how come we make information our independent variable? That's my simple question.
You're monologuing, and you've made 6 mistakes so far that I counted. First you said observations. Yeah. First you said observations cause it, and then you said information cause it. Which one?
Information.
That's right. So not observations. That's a mistake. Your conclusion or your premise was about something immaterial. Can you state that again?
So I was just repeating what Brian said. Brian said that something which is outside the physical world does not come under the purview of science. So I just wanted that clarification.
No, let me clarify, because that is not what I said.
That's not what he said.
What I said, no, it's not what I said.
Go ahead, Brian.
I said, no, sorry, no, you would have been able to say it anyway, Kiwi. No, what I said is it's not within the realm of physics, as in we can't physically show it in the 3D world. It's in a dimension outside of our 3D physical reality where we have matter and whatever else. That's the point I was making. I didn't make any statements about what you can and can't do with it.
Okay.
You know where this is, hold on, Flat Earther. You know where this is getting back to? The turkey squirrel scenario. That's where you're going. This is the avenue you're going down. I'm just telling you. I can already see the end point. I tried to tell you. I tried to give it up to you in the beginning. You're just not getting it. So what do I want to do here? I could take this over and get into this nonsense right now. It's not nonsense. Those are good questions, but I would like to refrain, and I know we've talked about the quantum eraser experiment before. I'd like to refrain from discussing it at this time. How about that, Flat Earther? Would you accept that?
No problem at all. I'm here always.
But not that we won't discuss it. It's timing. I could do it, and I could help you understand it, because you have a lot of assumptions that you've stated that aren't true, that I never stated. So let's just leave it at that for right now. But I don't want to completely knock it off the minutes of the meeting. I want you to hold on to that, and I will tell you when. I will purposely tell you when. You won't have to say anything. When I see you in here, I'll say when, and then you can rock on. How about that?
Cool.
Fair?
Thanks.
We
thanks.
we still friends?
I'm a fan.
Say again?
Said I'm a fan more than a friend.
Oh, so we're not friends, huh? Why I oughta?
Very telling.
That's okay. I understand. But like I said, we'll get back to it. Just poor timing right now. I don't want to get into this. Even though my presentation's out there, right? Even though it's there. it's there. In fact, it's underneath this video in the description box. But let's leave it for right now. Thank you very much. Any questions concerning the presentation itself, you know, I know probably nothing with natural experiments and observational studies. What about natural laws and scientific theories? Anything on that? No, nothing.
Yeah,
No?
yeah. Sorry, I couldn't get to my phone. Sorry, I was leaving one of the cats out, and one of the cats wanted to come in. I think it's very important to categorize things in the right way, because, as you said during the presentation, there's a difference between a description and an explanation. We can only describe the effects that is termed as entropy. Can't prove the cause of entropy outside of just stating God, creator. You know, that as opposed to something that you can prove the cause of, then that becomes science, a part of a scientific theory, natural science, whereas entropy can only be described as a natural law, something that always happens without fail that we know of.
Can I say something?
Yeah. No, you can't.
Well, I'm going to ask permission from now on.
You don't have to ask permission. I just don't want color commentaries being blurted out in the middle of a discussion. But if you want to contribute to the discussion, be my guest.
I did re-listen to the show, and you're 100% correct, and I'm going to mind my tongue with that.
Did you listen? Did you listen to that nightmare?
I annoyed myself, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
So I was talking with Nathan one time, and he was saying that you can't put natural law through the scientific method.
Say again?
That you could put things that happen, natural law, through the scientific method.
No, you misheard him.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Okay. To discover what causes things to go from hot to cold, always. Right? How are we going to find that out?
You can't. That's the point.
Well, I had a discussion with him, and he said you could put it through the scientific method.
No.
You can science it, but you're going to come to the same outcome.
No, not the second law of thermo, not with entropy. He didn't. I never heard him say that. In fact, I heard him say the exact opposite, greater than 50 times.
Neil, can I give some clarity of what Nathan meant? What he meant is you can try to find out, using the scientific method, what causes the effects that's termed as entropy. But that doesn't mean you ever will find out the cause. You'll have a lot of nulls, but that doesn't mean you're going to find out the cause. So you can, what Nathan meant, I remember him saying this before, is you can try and find out. But the chances of finding the cause would be very slim. That's what Nathan meant.
The chances aren't slim. It's impossible. So I don't know. I wasn't privy to this discussion. I haven't heard it, but I would have stamped it out quick. So I don't know what Nathan said. You're going to have to talk with Nathan about that, Neil.
Yeah, well, because I thought the same thing. And he said, no, you can. But like Brian said, because I always thought natural law, it's natural law. So you can't put it through the scientific method because it's natural law.
That's correct. Adam, are you eating?
No.
He ran.
Getting back from. I went to fill up my wine glass.
I knew you were running back to that mic.
I am a little out of breath.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
I just wanted to let you guys know that Witsit Gets It is totally going mental in the chat right now.
Why don't he get his ass on here?
I don't know. He doesn't have an argument anymore. He's just complaining now about how we strawman everything, even though he doesn't actually make a claim anymore.
Right.
So it seems he's just blabbering and whining.
Don't care about. Don't care about. Just keep it to yourselves. I don't care about what's going on in chat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, chat stuff doesn't matter. It's like if someone's in the chat saying what they're saying, doesn't matter.
No, but real quick, I find it funny that he was in Nathan's chat yesterday and now in this chat today. So, because they lost badly, so this is what happens.
I haven't been over there. I forgot all about that. Oh, brother. Okay.
You're off mute, QE. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I know I'm off mute.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
You were
know.
sounding like you didn't know.
Nah, I knew. In fact, I looked down and I seen it. I said, well, it's too late anyway.
There he is.
Okay, everyone's
ahead,
talking so big. Let's hear it. What's up,
Yes.
Neil? What were you saying? I lost so bad. What's up?
I said this not
A lot
an
of
ether
breath
discussion.
there, huh?
Shut up. Stop. Stop right now. You understand, Austin, that I said this is not an ether discussion? You may not have been here. Beginning of the presentation, I said this is not an ether discussion today. All right? You understand that? Yes?
I understand. Yeah,
Thank you.
I would suggest that these people on the panel stop talking so crazy.
Yep. I told them to stop.
Yeah.
All right. We're good.
Just the fundamental, as it does apply to what the guy was asking you about your presentation, right? Is that it's just a simple thing that there are things that exist outside, just like you said in your presentation. Like we can know things without it being science.
Correct.
Not everything is science.
Correct.
And that's the entire point. We apply logic to life because sometimes things fall outside of scientific verification.
Correct.
Right. Well, that's just the whole point.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Yep. I think I mentioned that.
I'm gonna step out. I don't want drama. I actually have something to do, but
Okay.
I would just love for people to stop talking so crazy and reckless when
Okay.
we all know they can't debate me. So
Okay.
Anyway, all right. I'm gonna go. It's all love.
The fuck up.
Hey,
See what I'm
Neil,
saying?
stop it, man. Just stop. All right? Good.
Nah.
Good. Yeah,
Anyway.
stop.
Peace out.
Yep.
Hey, you piss off.
Yeah. I didn't want to discuss this today. I told you that.
Hold on, QE. It's only because he's in the freaking chats. We're not bringing
Neil.
He's
Relax.
chats.
Neil, relax.
I'm relaxed.
It'll be okay. All right? I got this covered. You trust me?
With my life.
All right. Fair enough. Good. So just trust me on this one. All right? Go ahead, Adam. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to interrupt when Neil was being rude. I'm not having a go at you, Neil, but no need, man. Like, Witch is chatting in Discord. He's been explaining his position, and I'm grateful for that to me and a few others. And I think just a bit of clarity that we're going to have points of contention. We should maybe just take a minute. Not every point needs to be a battering ram. And as QE said, it's not a night for that tonight. So I just wanted to thank him for he spent a day or so just explaining bits and bobs. That's appreciated. Because as he points out, he's got a very big IQ. And I don't
That's
doubt
what bothers me, Adam. That part right there.
I don't doubt that for 1 minute. And therefore, if he's looking at stuff and drawing certain conclusions, then outside of that claim, he's demonstrated himself to be a free-thinking, intellectual man, and I want to hear and understand what he's talking about. And I said, just cheers for sharing what you've shared so far, dude, and hopefully it will continue. And it won't be just this. There are points we need to address, but let's just all just chill a bit.
Okay.
The emissary has spoken now.
See, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's why I said okay.
That emissary, that cracks me up, by the way.
Shouldn't crack you up.
It
Should have
does.
reference to the title.
I do. There is reference. You're correct. I do, and I give it its due diligence and due time. I give it its due attention.
I'm
All right.
sorry.
You may be seated.
Go ahead. 5 people wanted to talk at once with no one talking beforehand. Go ahead. Who? No, hold on. I'm bad. I'm that bad too. Go ahead, Arwen.
All right, I'm just saying that, look, Witsit's got stamina, right? That's something I could never play down. He has it. But from the way he's acting right now, for a while, he doesn't seem to be all that in control of his intellect.
All right.
So-
Didn't I just say before just to let it go for right now? Okay, please.
Well, then don't bring false praises, but continue.
Just please. No need. There's a time and a season for everything. Have you heard that before? You
And
trust
it's
me?
called Ballbusters.
You trust me?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, the Ether Wars is just starting, so I know you guys have more planned.
Just want to relax today, you know. Little kumbaya. Every now and again, I need a kumbaya. It's, you know, we all need that. There's a time and a place for everything. And I began the presentation stating that there would be no ether talk. I asked for that kindly. We've got into it a number of times. I knew that was going to be the case. I didn't get that irritated by it. I got a little irritated by it because I kind of got out in front of it, and it still didn't have much effect. That sort of torqued me a little bit, but, you know, I'm sensitive. Oh, boy. These are interesting times we're living in. How about that for how about that for vague, ambiguous, profound statement?
But it is, though. The Ether Wars are like our reality's contemporary Clone Wars of the Star Wars. It is really heavy, right? It's a big thing where a lot's going to happen and a lot of flunkies are going to be thrown at us, right? The Ether Wars, it's a one-of-a-kind event. It's happened right now.
Thanks, Arwen. I love color commentaries.
There's a Chinese saying, sorry, just on what Kiwi said a minute ago. There's a Chinese saying, and it's more of an insult actually, if I'm correct. Now, I hope it's Chinese. I always heard it was Chinese. I hope it's not Japanese or Korean, but it's that may you live in interesting times, and it's actually an insult. When they say interesting times, they mean that you live in times of turbulence, where people will be interested in knowing about it when they're reading history books.
Like
That
sounds like
sounded more Irish than Chinese or Japanese.
That's the accent.
Well, that would be brilliant if I got it that wrong, wouldn't it? The Chinese say this. It's actually us. My God.
Yeah, I've heard that. It is that backward thing, isn't it? Being that interesting times is generally times of turmoil.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so you could be right. Maybe it is Irish.
It's by the
Could be
same
that too.
author.
Under
It's
that.
by the same author that said, "May you live 1,000 years." So that it sounds like Sun Tzu, Chinese.
Yeah, 1,000 years is too long of a life by far. Life is hard.
Right, it's meant as a curse.
Yeah.
And also a realization of like, yeah, it is actually really tough to live that long and carry all those burdens.
I have another one. The only thing for certain is the unforeseen.
That
Like
sounds
the
like
ether.
more that sounds more European.
Oh boy.
Like, even
Okay.
the word unforeseen already reveals a very European root.
Is unforeseen the same as like unmanifest?
No, it's
Oh, yeah.
No, it hasn't happened yet.
As unperceived, unforeseen, something you didn't
No.
see coming.
No, it's unforeseen. The only thing for certain because it hasn't happened yet. So you're trying to friggin' make all these connections quite feebly. But no. No, I'm just messing with you, Adam.
I like that, but no.
All right, listen, it's coming up on 4 o'clock my time here. Like I said, there was no rush today. I just wanted to take it easy and just hang out. Especially, I haven't talked to Nathan for a while, so I wanted to talk to him, and obviously, look what happened. Not that I don't like talking with you guys. I just haven't talked with Nathan. But you guys following that? Yeah.
You still haven't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, any more with the presentation? This ends the natural science and the scientific method presentation that we started 8 years ago. For the next Ballbusters in 2 weeks, I'm still contemplating. So I got a lot of, as they say, logs on the fire currently. So let's just keep it tentative as to a big question mark for that. I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy or be interested in the next one. It's going to be interesting for the next one. I'll put it to you that way. Yeah. You guys get it? Go ahead.
Is that it? Is that the level of the clues? Nothing.
To be honest with you, I haven't actually solidified what was going to happen in 2 weeks. Actually, I haven't. I said there's a possibility that something would happen, but it's not. Things can happen. Like I said, I got a lot of logs on the fire. My focus is attention, or my attention is focused. I said that backwards. I've been doing a lot of that lately, being a little dyslexic. I'm getting a little old. But my attention is focused in a couple different directions, and I want my focused attention. I did the same damn thing again. I gave an address to my wife the other day, and she took it to the post office, and the post office said, "This place does not exist." She calls me up. She goes, "It's a wrong zip code, man." And I'm saying, read it back to me, right? And it was all jacked up. I gave it to her backwards. You believe that? Am I getting senile?
No, you're just getting bored of words. Words get boring after a while. You just get sick of putting them all together. Happens to me.
That sounds like a Joe Biden excuse, Brian.
But my focus is attention elsewhere. That's really good. I'm gonna have a snicker of that for the rest of the evening. So listen, let's go ahead and I'm gonna wrap it up. How about that? That doesn't look right. Adam, have you seen this new OBS interface?
No.
I don't think you want to. What the heck is that? Yeah, and in fact, they had another update earlier. I'm paranoid about OBS updates to begin with. I thought since I did the other one Thursday, it was a big update too. It lasted like a minute and a half. I'm thinking to myself, I'm pulling up OBS today. I'm thinking to myself, I'm all clear. Nope. Update. When I pulled it up, I'm like, come on, man. Give me a break. I can't hang with this stress. Slow suckers. Yeah, I just got to get used to it. It's just not looking right to me. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna wrap things up. We'll see. We got a holiday weekend. Go ahead, Adam.
You gotta go down the list.
I ain't going down the list. You
fair
like
enough,
that?
though.
You like that?
You don't have to go down the list. Yeah.
You like that command decision? Not that you don't have a say here. I don't want to say that. I just have total command. Oh man!
Begins
No,
with B and ends in Ollocks, isn't it? I like that. Yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with ego or anything, right, Betty? I see Betty out there.
I don't know who would have suggested that.
Yeah. It seems like I don't know. I don't even want to get into it because some things, not everything is as it appears. Let me just say that. Now, where was I going with? I had a train of thought before I was interrupted by Adam. Where was I going with this?
You were leading out.
I was leading out with what? I wanted to touch on something and jeez. I was saying something to the effect about this was Saturday and it was I think I was saying that. It was Saturday. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It's Labor Day weekend here in the States. So there's a whole, I was thinking about Tuesday's show. I have no idea with what I'm going to do Tuesday because I got so many things going on this weekend and Monday that I don't know what we should be on. I just don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, but that's where I was going. See, I recovered. Yep. So we're going to see you guys on Tuesday. We'll come up with something. We'll have the whole gang here. I'm sure they'll be etherified. Excuse me. Right? Everyone's feathers will be ruffled and expletives and accusations will be flying everywhere.
And burned.
I want to see where Betty's at
Betty,
on Tuesday.
Betty, she's out there in chat.
I know.
Yeah, Betty, where are you?
She's in
Tell
chat.
us.
She's chat skanking today.
I'm not skipping it Tuesday. I said everything was real. You already know this. I said everything was really busy up until Tuesday. So I'm not going to skip Tuesday. Why should I skip Tuesday? Count you out. Why? We're hanging on Betty's every word. We want to count you in. That's why we're staying open. We're getting ready to hear Betty's words. Or see Betty's words. We're not hearing them in chat. Let's go, Betty, while you can. Maybe she put it in here. Nope. We're waiting, Betty. I'm waiting to close the show.
Wait. This is Betty's server. Betty joined.
Did she?
No, she should though.
Oh, gee, you forced me back there. I didn't want to go back. What? There's not going to be a war on Tuesday? Who said there was a war on Tuesday? QE, sing out everything Betty chat. You want to hear me sing again? I just told you there's no war on Tuesday. Why are you saying there's a war? No, I didn't. Not Tuesday. Did I say there was going to be a war on Tuesday? Maybe I am getting senile.
Maybe she knows something we don't.
No, she doesn't.
What's she planning if she thinks there's a war for Tuesday? Betty, very Machiavellian.
Yeah. She's just assuming there's going to be a war. There's no war Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm stating it right now. There is no war on Tuesday. I shall not have war on Tuesday. How about that? I shan't have the ruffling of feathers of war on Tuesday. I think we're good.
Tuesday's the new day of rest, is it?
Yeah. Just be patient. Goodness gracious. All right, we're going to wrap things up. Sorry I elongated this, guys. I know it's probably, I don't know if anyone else has a show on right now. And you came here for some cow. I thought I gave you some cowbell with the presentation. It seems that people's focus is elsewheres, doesn't it? Maybe you all heard this before and you get it, and that's fine. Hopefully like I said, the first part of the natural experiments, observational studies, and field studies. You just don't hear that anymore. It wasn't prevalent when it was coming out to begin with. You'd hear little things here and there about somebody that would, head first face plant in a drained cement pond with it, and I'd just jack him yard. But I think it's good to touch on. The most interesting one, I thought I was going to get a lot of comments, or the most interesting two, was natural law versus scientific theory, and Singham Mano with the propaganda and brainwashing of his physics students. I thought I was going to get a little feedback from that, but I didn't. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thanks, guys, on the panel for contributing. I appreciate it. Arwin, Brian's Logic, Flat Earther, Izzy, even though you didn't get a chance to say anything, Izzy. Neil and Adam, appreciate it, guys.
Yo.
Yep. You're muted. Now, for all you guys out there, let me get it going. I hope you enjoy. Oh, we got a super chat from Unitox Femu. Conscience in my mind, materializing thoughts. Well, that's good. At least you got an inner voice. Was it talking to you? You don't have to give another. Don't do it. You don't have to give another super chat. I'm going to be rich. $2.31. So, like I said, guys, busy weekend. We'll see what we come up with Tuesday. No war Tuesday. That's official. No war Tuesday. Everyone got it? Only the emissary can declare war. How about that? I'll go ahead and put it on Adam. So Adam, he is the emissary to the Aetherian embassy, and only he can declare war. So I can't do it. I relinquish my power to declare war onto the emissary. How about that? Then everyone can be happy, and we can just all get along. Hey, catch you on the flip side, guys. Out.